Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And I told you guys the walls are closing in on the Kell Brook decision. Next Tuesday, his fight with Errol Spence is supposed to go to purse bid. Kell Brook, IBF champion, skilled fighter, gave Golovkin some issue, lost the fight, got an eye injury in that fight, was stopped in that fight. And now he might move back down to welterweight. He might move to 154. And I keep telling you guys, very consistent. Kell Brook, Errol Spence is a hell of a fight. It's a good fight. It's two good fighters. It's a 50-50 fight. Either guy can win. But my biggest issue is this laborious process of being indecisive. Just in general, I don't like super indecisive. Like, I had an ex-girlfriend and I'd be like, we're going to the movies. Let's say we're going to the show, going to the movies. We wanted to get something to eat before we go to a restaurant. Like, hey, where you want to eat? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's okay. Wherever. Like, hey, let's go to BJ's. Oh, I just had that. I don't want that. All right, let's go to Chevy. Oh, no, I don't want. Like, so obviously you do care, right? You wouldn't have said no to the first two options or whatever the situation. Let's go to Outback. No, I don't really want any steak or seafood. Like, come on, man. So that whole indecisive behavior, that's what's unattractive about this situation. Like, again, I criticized Canelo Alvarez when he did what he did, which is vacate his belt instead of fighting his mandatory. Right? Because I don't think that made him look good. But I at least respect that he just did it straight away. There was no long, drawn-out process where, like, oh, I might fight Golovkin. No, I'm not. It's just, here's the belt. That's what you want. Get him off my back. And then you just move on. You know what I'm saying? So with Errol Spence, it's just like Kell Brook and team have been like, oh, we'll fight him. He's Jeff Lacey. No, we want to fight Amir Khan. Nobody knows Errol Spence. Oh, we get a medical extent. You know what I'm saying? It's just one thing after another. And I would just much rather prefer a decision. It's just, oh, we're going to go to 47. Oh, we can't make 47. It kills me to make 47. We're going to 54. It's just like, decide. Whatever your decision is, just decide so you don't hold up the process. That's what people say, holding a title hostage. Like, the man Errol Spence, he worked his way up through the rankings with the IBF. He's supposed to be in line, so just really decide. Are you going to 54? It shouldn't be this hard of a decision. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and the other thing is this whole situation doesn't make sense to me. Kell Brook moves to 154. He's saying he's chasing big fights. Who's he gonna fight at 54? Canelo moved up. He's fighting Chavez at damn near super middleweight, 164.5. So there was a fight that was kind of talked about after the Golovkin performance, but it doesn't look like it's an option. They're going in different directions, right? And you have Erislandy Lara, Demetrius Andrade. You have the Charlo brothers, Vanes Matarosa. So where's your big fight? You know what I mean? People made excuses why Canelo shouldn't fight Boo Boo Andrade or Erislandy Lara because they didn't bring in any names. So who's Kell Brook going to fight? That's a big name. If you want big fights only, you know what I'm saying? Furthermore, pushing Amir Khan off of a brutal knockout loss, that just it's very clear and apparent that you would be taking that fight because it's a bigger money fight and it's really less risk. Most people would be in agreement that although Amir Khan's a good fighter, he doesn't pack the same punch and he's not as fresh as an Errol Spence Jr. So you're clearly like making it painstakingly obvious that you're after the money, which is cool. Everybody, it's a prize fighter. I understand Floyd said, I'm a prize fighter, dummy. I fight for a prize. I get that. But you just came off of a good paycheck. You're not going to get peanuts. Your promoter's a hell of a promoter. Eddie Hearn doing a good job, so he's going to negotiate the best for you. Plus, if you fight Errol Spence as a champion, you're entitled with the IBF, I think it's to 75% of the pot, right? While Errol Spence is only getting 25. And Errol Spence would probably have to come to the UK to fight you. So to me, it's excuses. Like with the Amir Khan fight. Amir Khan keeps saying, setting up these roadblocks and hurdles, Now he just said, I'm not fighting Kell Brook next. He just did an interview and he said that. So it's like, why are you constantly holding on to hope for this fight? You haven't been able to fight him for the last 4 years. So why is it so imperative now? Because you have a real threat and you would rather go the path of least resistance. That's what it's seeming like. Now, Errol Spence Jr., his head trainer, Derek James, he did an exclusive interview with Sky Sports. Shout out to Sky Sports, tons of coverage lately. And he had some interesting things to say. Among those things, he said that Spence would come to the UK, no problem. And this is what he said. I'm going to pull some quotes and then give more of my thoughts. So Spence's head trainer says regarding Eddie Hearn said to Sky Sports, there's like a 70 to 80% chance of the Kell Brook Errol Spence fight happening next, right? And then his trainer said that's good to hear about Spence Brook, but he hasn't really got a choice, which is exactly what I said in the last video I did regarding this. He is backed into a corner. Kell Brook doesn't really have a choice because everyone in the world will know if you don't fight Errol Spence Jr., it's been highly publicized despite his effort to downplay Errol Spence's name and say, oh, the public doesn't really know. People are going to know that you did not want to fight him if you don't fight him. It's very apparent. You can't fight a guy coming off a knockout loss who you haven't been able to fight for the last 3-4 years. And then now all of a sudden, and you had no problem facing any other mandatory, Jojo Dan and Kevin Bezier and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden, you just can't make the weight anymore. It doesn't sound realistic. Anyway, Errol Spence Jr., his trainer went on to say, we've heard about the Khan fight, but we're not concerned with that because Eddie Hearn does say a lot of things. Kell Brook wanted to fight Amir Khan and be champion, but if he wants to stay a champion, he's got to fight Errol. We're happy about it. We worked a long time to get where we are, and the outcome has made us happy. I can tell you it's going to be a pretty good fight. We're expecting it to happen in the next 3 or 4 months, and fighting in the UK is not a problem at all, right? And for more, check the link in the description, and it's the full interview. He also says on paper it might look like a big step up for Errol, but so far I've only watched one of Brook's fights against Triple G, and he looked pretty good fighter, but he certainly ain't phenomenal. Errol is a quiet guy, but he's a fierce competitor. Again, for the full write-up and interview with Spence's trainer, check the link in the description from Sky Sports. Shout out to them. And there's nothing else that can be said. People are like, oh, Errol Spence. See, this is the thing that's wrong with boxing, is people aren't consistent and people aren't transparent. When it's, let's say you're a big fan of Gennady Golovkin, right? And he fights a guy that literally the real boxing world doesn't really know much about, like a Dominique Wade, who was actually his IBF mandatory, if I'm not mistaken. And people make excuses for why that fight needs to happen next. They say, oh, Dominique Wade, that's his mandatory. Get off his back. When people criticize that fight, said, hey, that's a bad fight for a Golovkin, then they said, oh, it's his mandatory. But now, if you're on the Kell Brook side of things, people are going to make an excuse why Errol Spence doesn't deserve his mandatory shot, saying, oh, nobody knows him, he doesn't sell tickets, and who is he beat, and all kinds of other stuff. You see, it would just benefit the boxing populace if fans kept it consistent. Are you pro mandatories, pro unifications? If you have a rule, it should be the same rule across the board, not depending on who you like and who you like better out of a tandem. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people do all the time. If it's Canelo vacating the belt, then if you're a Canelo fan, you're all for it. But if Floyd did that, then you would hate him for it and call him all kinds of names and stuff like that, right? So just keep it consistent. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. And I just hope Errol Spence gets a shot, no matter if it's versus Kell Brook or whoever. But again, the walls are closing in. If Kell Brook doesn't fight Errol Spence Jr. next, everybody's going to know what that means. I mean, there's no other real way around it. It's too much pressure. It's been highly publicized. Like I said, I think Spence and Hearn or Kell Brook and Hearn did their best job to like try to fan down the flames, but it didn't work. You can't downplay Errol Spence. He's a U.S. Olympian, and you're talking about nobody in the U.S. knows him. You know what I mean? He's getting praised by Floyd Mayweather on national TV multiple times. Floyd Mayweather has a black eye before one of his fights, And people are like, hey, how'd you get that shiner? How'd you get that black eye? And then the world pretty much knows that it was allegedly Errol Spence that did that. Floyd's constantly praising him. Freddie Roach is constantly praising him and saying, oh, I seen him knock out Broner in sparring. Yet you got someone who's not even from America, like Kell Brook, who's saying, oh, Americans don't know Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, they tried long enough to stop the bleeding. It's a good fight. And see, this is the thing. A lot of people deal more with emotion than facts and what's in front of them. I've never stated that this is not a good fight. In fact, I've said the contrary. This is why I want to see the fight, because it is such a good fight, right? Kell Brook has a shot in there. Like, people are like, oh, you need to stop. You need to stop jockeying Errol Spence. It's not about jockeying anybody. He worked up for the spot, and this is what's right for boxing, period, end of. Whether he wins, if he gets knocked out, if he loses, it doesn't matter. If it's a draw, he gets his shot. The end. Let me know what you guys think of Errol Spence Jr.'s trainer's comments. And do you think this fight will happen next? Will Kell Brook take it? You drop that in the comment section. But there's really, I don't see, there should be no criticism at this moment for Errol Spence. He took on people like Chris Algieri and Leonard Bundu, beat them better than the other notable names that had previously fought him, the Pacquiaos, the Amir Khans, the Ruslan Provodnikov. Stopped Chris Algieri. He stopped Leonard Bundu. Keith Thurman didn't do that. Frankie Gavin didn't do that, right? And he looks like he's willing to face whoever's in front of him, whoever's in his path of him getting a world title. He's in shape. He's putting on exciting performances. He's mild-mannered and humble. Seems like a cool guy, you know what I mean, when I met him and stuff. So it's like, what is there to be mad at? Like, I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing as a boxing fan. He said he's willing to go to the UK to fight the UK fighter. What is there to complain about? And again, this is regardless of if he wins or loses versus Brook. This is what boxing is. This is what more guys should be doing. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.